Hello all, I am coming to you on Sunday, December 1st, 2013, wanting to cover some things I noticed over the last 3 days, this Thanksgiving weekend that just passed us. But before I dive in here, I just want to start with a quick caveat, as I often do with some of these videos, to say this is for a very specified audience. This is coming from a very Christian perspective, and it's for other Christians. Most certainly, everybody's welcome to listen. But there certainly will be some non-starters, I would imagine, coming from very different perspectives. So I just want to start there. This is for a Christian, for other Christians to consider. So from there, over these last 3 days, Thursday, Friday, Saturday of this Thanksgiving week, I've been disturbed, sometimes really disgusted, by a couple things I've seen in American culture. And then Christians who are part of American culture taking part in those things. I think it's three of the worst parts of what we have in this American culture that we exist in. So I just want to cover all three, maybe critique them a little bit and challenge you to consider them. So let's dive in here with the first one. That is Thursday, that the stores that were opening. For those that worked on Thursday, I'm not talking about you for Thanksgiving or Black Friday shoppers in total. That was the next day. But I think it's a good thing to consider what it means for the culture. That on Thursday afternoon, a lot of us sat around a table and expressed gratitude, thanks. Maybe for people and relationships and maybe some spiritual blessings, but also for things that we have, actual material blessing of the stuff we have. And then just hours later, I watched those same people line up, maybe wait in the cold, and then wrestle and jostle and fight other people to get more stuff, more things. Now you may respond immediately, hey, there's nothing wrong with me shopping. Nope, sure isn't. No problem there. Unless you've turned it into some kind of idol. If you find in that shopping any kind of self-value, if there's any piece of that shopping, the things that you own, or even things that you give, or even just being able to say to others that you can afford to go shopping on that day, if there's any part of you that finds self-value, self-worth, that you mean more, that you like yourself more, that the version of you that you want people to know is the one that has these things, let me encourage you to take that pressure off. There's no place for that in Christian living. We don't find our value from things that we own. It reminded me of 1 Timothy 6, where Paul writes to Timothy and says, godliness with contentment is great gain, and contentment is a sweet thing. That's just the idea of, I've got what I got, and I'm okay with that. I've got the car that I have, and the house that I have, and the job that I have, the spouse that I have, the phone or the computer that I have, and I'm okay with that. Maybe I'd like another one, if possible, but if this is what I have, it's okay. Because I don't need things to define me. I don't need stuff to tell me if I'm doing well or not doing well, because from a Christian perspective, we don't define ourselves that way. We define ourselves as the people of God, not stuff on earth. It really also reminded me of something Jesus said, that don't store up your treasure here. Don't find your meaning, don't find your value in stuff, in items, in material things. That they're not just going to last into the next world. Forget about that they are transient, that they don't last past this time that we have on earth. Those things that you buy that you think are going to make you happy, they break now. They don't last now. Clothes you get stop fitting or they get tears. Cars you buy break down. Phones you own you have to go back and get maintenance on. The stuff you get doesn't make you happy now. Forget about forever. So I see this piece of American culture, this idea, if I get more things, it's going to mean something about me. It's going to make me happy. And at least for Christians within the culture, let me encourage you, it won't. There's nothing satisfying about stuff in things. So that was one. Number two. I'm start with Friday here. It began this thing called rivalry week in college football. And I know I'm about to attack a major idol where I'm from in the South here. But what I saw, especially amongst Christians in social media, from every rivalry that exists, I mean all of them, from out west in Southern Cal and UCLA to Florida, Florida State, to Ohio State, Michigan, to Clemson and Carolina, to Alabama and Auburn, all of them, from both sides. What I see is first irrational. There's a piece of me that wants to rise up just against the irrationality of it. There's also the spiritual piece of it. So going into rivalry week, what I see is men defining themselves, just like in the previous topic, finding value, finding definition of self in the performance of 18 to 22-year-olds playing a sport. If you find value, if you feel better about yourself because a team of 18 to 22-year-olds play well, let me encourage you to have better values, to understand the value you have more than that. If you feel bad about yourself because 18 to 22-year-olds that you like didn't play well, let me tell you that there's a better way to value yourself than college football. If you, a Christian, can look at another Christian who happens to like a different set of 18 to 22-year-olds and feel any kind of superiority, feel pride over how other people performed in a sport, you've got an idol. Tear that idol down. And you might say to me, well, it's all in good fun. We just enjoy college football. This is not really a problem. Isn't it though? Because I see it, guys. I see it on social media. There is an actual self-value. You feel good. Let me say it this way, especially as a Christian. If your Sunday as a Christian can be affected by your Saturday as a college football fan, you've got an idol. If you feel better on Sunday because your 18 to 22-year-olds played well, you got an idol. If your Sunday can be ruined because your 18 to 22-year-olds did not play as well, you've got an idol. So that's the spiritual part. I would also add, this is utterly irrational. If you find self-value, for it's often the case, how 18 to 22-year-olds play, 18 to 22-year-olds that you don't know, for school you probably didn't go to, that you have no connection to, it is utterly irrational. It is crazy behavior. But outside of the crazy, it's also a big spiritual problem. If you're finding any self-value in this, how sports go. So the first one in our stuff, our material things, but secondarily, this idol of sports, how that goes and letting it affect how you feel and think. And then finally, Saturday night, a tragedy took place. A star in the Fast and Furious movies died in an accident. And let me preface here by saying that is a tragedy. One of the hallmarks of Christianity is we hate death. We don't think it's natural. Our narrative, our biblical narrative tells us death isn't natural. We actually weren't meant for it. Eventually death goes away. We don't have to worry about death anymore. It's one of the parts of Christianity that we love. So any kind of death we hate. But there is this idol of celebrity culture, that he was one of thousands of people that died that day, but because he happened to be famous, you care? Do you care? Does it affect you over all the other people that died that day? Honestly, if you're one of the people that finds some sort of idol in watching celebrities do things, you care who they're dating or what they're doing or what they're wearing. Same way I'd tell folks that define themselves by goods and material things, hey, don't find your value in that. We have more value than that as being the people of God. Same way I would tell guys, hey, don't find your value in college football teams. Have a higher value than that. If you're obsessed with celebrity culture, have a higher value than that as well. These are just idols I've seen, these worst parts of American culture. Materialism, just the desire to get more things, and this college football idol that you can actually feel better about yourself or worse about yourself depending on the outcome of a game that 18 to 22-year-olds play, or this lifting up of celebrities because they happen to be famous. These are ugly parts of the American culture. And let it be American, but let it not be Christian. Let's keep those two things separate. I know I hit some rough spots there, but I think it needs to be brought up, at least discussed amongst Christians, and I appreciate your patience and your listening. Thank you.